Hey everyone, welcome back to Coco Racks, and today we're going to be discussing whether Bitcoin is in a Wyckoff accumulation or distribution phase. Just before we start, a quick disclaimer: nothing I say should be used as financial advice, so please do your own research before you make any financial decisions. Before we start, I would like to briefly touch on what Wyckoff's all about. If you'd like to learn more about this in great detail, please refer back to our last video where Pradeep did a market analysis on gold and he's discussed Wyckoff in great detail, so it is very informative. I'll put the link down in the description below, but for today I will only just be briefly touching on it. So an easy way of describing Wyckoff is that it's just manipulation of support and resistance levels. Alright, so this is how the big money trade, whether that's institutions, smart money, the big traders, okay? Because what we have to understand is whatever market it is crypto, forex, stocks, it's designed for the big players to win and the retail traders to lose, right? It is a known fact that most traders lose money. Right, that's why a lot of people say trading is a scam. You can't make money trading, because the markets are just designed that way for the common people and retail traders to lose money, right? And I'm going to explain why in a bit. So what Wyckoff really is we've got multiple phases, right? So we've got accumulation, markup, distribution, and then markdown. So in accumulation phase, we've got the big players, then smart money accumulating an asset and loading up on long trades. And then once we come out of the accumulation phase, we get a markup, sometimes a reaccumulation, then a distribution phase. And this is where the smart money is loading up on shorts or they're selling the asset, right? Then we get a markdown, sometimes redistribution, and then we can continue getting cycles of accumulation and distribution over and over again, okay? But like I said, if you'd like to learn more about this in greater detail, please refer back to our last video on gold. Pradeep has gone through this in extreme detail and an in-depth analysis, so you'll learn a lot more, okay? But for now, let's get straight to Bitcoin. So in the last couple of months, Bitcoin has gone through multiple phases of accumulation and distribution, right? So if we go back to January 2021, start of the year, right? There was an accumulation phase. Now something we have to remember is there is very little difference between an accumulation or distribution phase, and the best way to tell what phase it is which side the price comes out of. So if we get a rally at the end of the phase, we know it was accumulation. If we get a dump at the end of the phase, we know it was distribution. But there is very little difference between an accumulation and distribution, okay? Which is why it can get really confusing. So in January 2021, we had an accumulation phase, right? So we had this initial sell-off. So we've established a strong support, right? And then this little rally, and then this move here is incredibly key, because what it does is it wipes out a lot of retail traders. Because initially we established a strong support. So as a retail trader, I might look to take a long position here with my stop loss just below it. Now with this drawdown here, it would hit my stop loss and it would knock my long position out. Also, now that it's created a lower low from here, it can look like a downtrend, right? So a lot of people look to short this, okay? Now, when that happens, this now becomes a bear trap, right? So you can see how easily a retail trader can fall for these traps and really lose money. If you aren't looking out for these signs, you can easily really lose out in this trading game, okay? So after this accumulation, we have this markup, and then we went into this distribution phase. So this was distribution schematic number one, right? So we established a high here, okay? And then we dropped down. We created another higher high, right? And then again, another higher high, right? So just in this phase, this can wipe a lot of people out again, because what we've done is established a strong resistance. A lot of people will look to short here, and then they would be wiped out, right? But in the big picture, this has created an uptrend, so this will look very bullish, Okay, so a lot of people looked long around these areas. However, they did the exact opposite. So you can see how easily markets were manipulated. A lot of shorts wiped out, a lot of longs were wiped out, and a lot of people would have fallen for this trap unless you're looking out for these Wyckoff signs, right? So at the end of the phase, we had this drawdown, and then we are now in this phase here. Okay, so before I start actually analyzing the current scenario here, I would like to briefly touch on the similarities and differences between Wyckoff accumulation and distribution, right? So if you have a look at these two diagrams, they're actually very, very similar. Look at how the highs are manipulated. So we've established a high, manipulated once, manipulated twice. Same here, established the high, manipulated once, manipulated twice, right? The lows, established the low, manipulated once, and then this drawdown in a distribution phase. So this drawdown confirms that this was a distribution phase, right? So in an accumulation phase, what we have is that we established the low, manipulation of that low, another manipulation of that low. So if this spring was to go down and sort of dump, right, this would become a distribution phase. However, in an accumulation phase, the spring results in a short squeeze, okay, and then we'd have this final break of resistance and then the markup, right, and that would validate an accumulation phase. So where are we now? So if this was an accumulation phase, what would happen is, if this was the spring, this is the test, okay. Now what would have to happen for an accumulation model to be validated is would have to come out of this resistance level, right, turn it into support, and then start our markup, okay, range higher up. However, until we get that, an accumulation model is not validated, right? Because what can easily happen is we can start rejecting from here, go down, right, and then break that, what we initially thought was a spring, and then this can then turn into a distribution. Because if you have a look here, got this one manipulation of the support there, so this spring could easily become SOW in phase B in a distribution schematic if we start getting this drawdown down here. If we start rejecting from here, we start drawing down, right? That doesn't mean accumulation schematic is invalidated. All it needs to do from there is to create a higher low than this level here, then go up, and then do what it's supposed to do. Break the resistance level, turn it into support, start our markup, right? But I do think this sort of little bit of retracement is required, because after a run up like this, a little bit of retracement would be healthy, okay? But in order for this accumulation to be validated, it has to break and then turn it into support and then start the markup. Because if we start drawing down here, this would now become a distribution phase. So whether this is an accumulation phase or distribution phase, we can't tell just yet. We have to wait for certain levels to break, okay? So at the moment, neither schematic has been validated or invalidated. We'll just have to see which end the price comes out of, right? So for me personally, I would like to see a healthy retracement come down to possibly a fibs level on BTC. So somewhere between 33 and 35. And then hopefully we can continue our next leg up, because at the moment we've got a lot of bullish bias. A lot of people are getting excited saying the bull market is back. Nothing's been confirmed just yet, okay? Because what could happen is with this massive run up here, BTC has used up a lot of steam to get up to these levels. So when it finally does break, or if it breaks, and then it could then turn into this UTAD test, which would be a bull trap. Okay, and we don't want to see that. So for me personally, I would like to see a healthy retracement and then build up another steam, another leg up to validate an accumulation schematic, right? But at the moment, nothing's certain, nothing's been validated or invalidated. We'll just have to wait and see. But this phase can continue on for a little longer, right? There is no time limit on this because the big money, big players, they are very patient. They have all the time in the world to make their money, right? So as retail traders, as the common people, you just have to wait and watch, right? That's all for today. Please like and subscribe if you like our content. We've got a lot of great stuff coming out for you regarding NFT, crypto, forex. So please keep an eye out. And that's all for today. Thank you very much. Peace out. Have a good day.